In this video, let's talk about a recently aired, very exciting Chinese web drama, Chang'an 12时辰, The Longest Day in Chang'an. Chang'an 12时辰, The Longest Day in Chang'an, is one of the most anticipated period drama since late last year. I think towards the end of the last year, I made a video talking about the dramas that I'm really looking forward to, which included this one. And initially, it was set up to air, I think, on the last day of 2018. And it was announced, and then it was quickly cancelled. And then nobody knew when it was going to come out. But in fact, it actually went live on the same day that The Untamed went live. But unlike The Untamed, which announced its airing date one day before its airing, Chang'an 12时辰 came up completely unannounced. Their official account on Weibo didn't even say anything about the fact that they're going live. There was just basically no news, and bam, it's there online, and it's not even on Youku's front page, not in the gallery images of the shows that they have as new shows. So you would actually have to type in the drama's title to search for it, and it will come up. It was that secretive. Yeah, it's just like the whole thing of drama airing these days smells like espionage. Ridiculous, right? Anyway, 长安12时辰. So this title actually includes where the story takes place and for how long. Chang'an is ancient name for Xi'an. It used to be capital for many dynasties, including the one that this drama is setting, which is Tang Dynasty. 12时辰, 12时辰 is a Chinese traditional way of counting hours. So traditionally in China, we have 12 时辰 in a day. So each 时辰 actually is 2 hours. The easiest way to understand what this drama is it's an ancient Chinese version of the US TV series 24. Basically, it is something that happens within one day, and it is about people trying to figure out what those ancient terrorists in the story is about to do and trying to save the city. This is a drama based on a novel written by Ma Boyong, who is one of the most famous web novel writer and probably one of the best respected, I would say. He is also the author of The Secret of Three Kingdoms. In this story, you will encounter a plethora of characters, but the main story basically is the kind of intelligence bureau of the time in the capital city, Chang'an, received some kind of intel that terrorists are going to come into the city and do mass damage on the day that is the most special day of the year, which is the 15th day of the first lunar month. So right after New Year, the full moon, which is traditionally, in many dynasties, even till today, considered as one of the big days of the year. On this day, you would have a Lantern Festival, which is a big thing, and supposedly everybody in the city will come out onto the street, and it's like a big night carnival. So if you're a terrorist, it's the best time to do the most amount of damage. So they got this intel, and they need to figure out who are the people, what they're gonna do, and try to stop them. So the young leader of this intelligence bureau, played by Yang Qianxi, who is one of the 3 TF boys, and who is also from my hometown, Chongqing, he decided to pull out a prisoner on death row who used to be a kind of policeman of Chang'an, played by Li Jiaying, to use this guy as the lead to investigate this intel and try to figure out what's going on and how to stop it. So that's the story. Everything takes place within one day, from the morning of the 15th day, so the Lantern Festival day, to the next day's morning. So that's the quick introduction to the story itself. This could become a really long video. I'm gonna try to divide it into sections. First, I think I'm going to talk about the story, or mostly about the city and historical facts and things that you will see in this drama that I find interesting. The second part, I will talk about what I think is really well done in this drama. I think it's pretty clear when you watch it, you'll know. And then at last, I will talk about a few things that I hope it could have done better. So let's start with first the story itself. The writer wrote the story initially because he was fascinated about Tang Dynasty Chang'an. It was one of the biggest ancient city ever built, and at the time, I think the biggest city in the whole world. It is a walled city, and it's roughly about 80 square kilometers. So that's huge. That's really big, considering at the time, like, your transportation is horse. Tang Dynasty Chang'an has many very, very specific and interesting things regarding its urban structure, its planning. It has a very interesting system called Fang, which basically within the big walled city, you have little squares. And it's also walled off on all four sides with, I think, doors opening on particular side that is guarded. And for a long period, in Tang Dynasty, there actually was a very strict curfew. After a certain hour in the evening, you are no longer allowed to walk on the avenues outside of each little square. You have to be staying inside wherever you live. And the next morning, when a certain hour is reached, they will ring the bell and then the door opens and people can go out. So it's a very strict system. And for this drama to work, it has to be a day when that curfew is not in practice, which would be actually historically correctly on the Lantern Festival Day, because people want to go out and watch the lanterns and the entire city goes into a carnival kind of crazy state. You can't have people walled off in their little squares. They have to come out. So this is actually the day where in Chang'an the curfew doesn't apply. You can actually walk out a whole night and walk everywhere in the city. So I mean, from a plot point of view, it makes absolute sense to actually set this story on this day, because otherwise it would not work on any other day. The writer wrote this story because he was super fascinated about how the city works, how people live there. I'll try to put up a scale comparison between the then Chang'an and some famous city currently in the world, and you can judge for yourself if it's actually pretty crazy about how big the city is. Chang'an is also a big international metropolis. During its heyday, it has like over 30,000 foreigners living there, permanent residents, like. And there were people who were not from China, from like thousands of miles away, who actually take official post in the government, working really close to the center of the power. Just to give you an idea about how open at the time the city is. And in this drama, you will see many, many people from different ethnic groups, from of different race, as opposed to sort of Han or sort of the what we call the Middle Kingdom Chinese people. You'll see different religions, which is also true to history. There are, at least I've already seen, 2 different religions apart from Chinese Taoism, whatever you call it, which was the official religion of the royal or imperial family at the time. But obviously there would be Buddhism too. But I don't think so far it's been extensively depicted in the drama. But definitely Taoism. Then you can see, I'm trying to pronounce that word, Zoroastrianism, depicted in this drama. You would also see a branch of Christianity, which is true to history too, that came to China at the time and having their churches and temples in Chang'an. That would be Nestorianism. They have the symbol of the cross and the lotus flower. I mean, how interesting that is, considering it actually happened in the 8th century. So this drama has an actually very accurate day. It's happening on 天宝3年, which is 744 AD. It's over 1,200 years ago. And people were that open, like to the world, to people who are very different from you. And that level of diversity, right, in today's term is pretty stunning. I don't think any countries or any nation or any ethnic group today is that open currently on Earth. So, history doesn't just progress in a straight line. Ancient people have done crazy things, have achieved great things, have minds that are actually more open and more accepting than you could possibly imagine. I'm just saying. So if you're interested in any of those aspects, you should go and watch this drama, because there's just so much information and so much to look at. So that will lead me to talk about the second part, which is the strongest sort of point of this drama is it is such a high production value drama, to the point where I just can't imagine how they pull this off, because it must be so expensive. Cinematography, art design, even CG are so well done, especially the CG, because a lot of the drama actually is CG, but you can't even tell. If they don't show you they actually used CG here, you will not notice. The visual quality is extremely cinematic. It does feel like you're watching a 48 episodes long film, which just screams money. This is not a surprise coming from the director Cao Dun, who used to be a cinematographer. And if you watch Tribes and Empires, he's not an unfamiliar name, let's just say. And he's well known for his visual style. I mean, think about Tribes and Empires. The best thing of the drama is how good it looks. So in this drama, it continues to absolutely impress you and sort of push the ceiling. In China, for TV dramas to have such great cinematography that really rivals with big screen work, then the art design of this drama is, to today, I think, the best art direction or design of any Chinese period drama set in Tang Dynasty. Having said that, though, I think I've had people ask me on Discord or email about how authentic or how accurate it is to history. I would say it is partly researched well, partly not well. If you have to give it a very blanket statement, I would say the male costumes are closer to history than the female costumes. When it comes to the women's clothing, hairstyle, makeup, everything, it still is not actually very accurate to the particular time they're trying to sort of recreate, because this drama has such a specific time, particular year, particular day. If you really want research out of it, you can, but I don't think the drama actually had the budget or the time to go into that level of detail. So they kind of took different styles throughout Tang Dynasty and crashed it into their drama. So you will see things that's actually more popular 30 years ago, 40 years ago, or 30 years later, even a dynasty later into Song, kind of all brought into the drama. If you are a researcher and person who actually specializes in ancient costume in China, then it's very easy to pick out what they've done right and what they've done wrong, and there's plenty of mistakes they've made. But you have to acknowledge it is to date the best research costume drama set in Tang Dynasty ever produced in China. So you have to give credit to that. The only thing that a lot of people specializes in history are not super happy about that is the production kind of is showing off too much, or they're boasting that we've researched everything, which is not true at all. From architecture to costume, there's still a lot of made up stuff, borrowed stuff, not from different time, even from Japan. A side note is there's this weird idea that's very pervasive in China, which is if you want to look at something that's in Tang Dynasty, whether it's architecture, clothing, whatever, you look to Japan. Somehow Japan is the copycat in people's mind, of Tang Dynasty China, which is not true to history at all. Like, no, it's not like that. But for some weird reason, this idea is just like very well accepted. I think for this drama, when they get to a point where probably they're under a lot of time and money constraint and they can't afford and they don't have time to research out everything. For example, the prop, what kind of like desk or what kind of dish would Tang Dynasty people of that particular time use, they just go for Japanese style because they think it looks the same, which is not true. Anyway, that might be one big reason that a lot of people who are actually specialized in history are not super happy about the fact that the production crew kind of says we've researched everything when they actually haven't. But for an average viewer, you would not know any of those. You probably enjoy it a lot and you would already be exposed to quite a lot of things that you haven't seen in previous dramas that are even more far off the track. Now, I've talked about some of the most discussed things in this drama, actually in China, and I'm guessing most people are interested in as well. I just want to mention at last the thing that I'm not super happy about. Now, I don't think you can completely blame it on the drama because it's based on the novel. The novel itself is not a character-heavy novel. It's mostly focused on the plot, focused on this terrorist plot and focused on how to stop them. And it's very fast-paced thriller where characters are actually mostly used as tools for the narrative, for the story itself, so they are actually themselves not the focus. I would say actually the biggest character of this story, this drama, this novel is the city itself. Chang'an, the ancient Chang'an, is the lead character. While I was watching the episode, I am paying full attention to it. By the way, it's not an IKEA drama, so don't watch it as an IKEA drama. It will not make sense if you do so. But when you're watching it, right, you're into the story. But as soon as the episode finishes, like you go on and do your other stuff, you don't think about the characters. You're not worried about their fate, which should that be happening because quite a few of them are like always in extreme danger. But for some reason, I think because of the story's nature, you kind of care more about the story itself than the people in it. So I've watched all the episodes that have aired so far, and I still haven't fallen in love, right, with quotation mark, by which I mean like you actually think about them when you're not watching them or you care about their fate. I haven't fallen in love with any of those characters, which gives me this problem that I'm not super looking forward to next week's episodes. I mean, I know when it comes out, I will check it when it comes out, but there's like no urgent need. Like, like if you're actually really into certain characters, you can't wait for the next episode to come out. You're kind of like sitting in front of your computer and just wait for the time and then, refresh your page trying to be the first person or to see it, to catch it in the first second, the first minute when it comes up. For Chang'an 12时辰, I just don't have the need. Like, I can wait for a couple of days, even after new episodes have aired. When I have time, I'll go and check it out. I'll still go and check it out because it's one of the best dramas, with quotation, again, best, which is when you judge everything. When you judge production quality, when you judge the value, when you judge how well the acting works, actually. Yeah, it's one of the best dramas of this year for sure, but I have no sort of emotional attachment to it, and I don't need to see it now. So I don't know, maybe it's the book itself, maybe the director, because his previous works shows that he's a really good visual person, but I mean, Tribes and Empires, right? If you've watched it, you know what I mean. But I'm not sure if there's a different person doing this drama, whether it will work out better. So actually, I'm curious if you've seen this drama, do you think the characters are the weak points, of this drama? And do you think there's actually a way to improve on that? I still believe if you work more on the script, there could be a chance of improving on that. This drama is already on Amazon Prime Video, and I think I forgot to check actually before I make this video. So whether it's already on Netflix or it will be on Netflix, it does scream Netflix. Like when you watch this drama, it's like it's such a Netflix-ish drama that I just don't see why it would not buy it. At the end, I think if you are, say, a fan of a particular actor, I mean, there are a lot of fans of Yang Jianxi, or if you are very intrigued by the look, the details, how people live their lives, you know, the little sort of very rich information, visual information that you will get in this drama. This is one of the best choices that you can make in 2019. I don't think anyone who watches this drama will be disappointed. They might not be super entertained depending on their personal taste, such as me. I enjoyed watching it, but it's not something that I would like rewatch time and time after, or spend a lot of time doing a lot of fan work for it. But it might be your thing, like you're super into it, you know, like all the best, because it is really a good drama. You're not gonna waste your time watching it. Before I go, I think one last thing is that they made 48, or at least the final edited version is 48 episodes of 24 hours, which means 2 episodes per hour. Obviously, you know, like timelines overlap. One person's story happens and it shows you what happens, and then it goes back in time, talk about another person's story, you know, like that makes sense. But in general, when you watch this drama, you'll feel so much is happening within one day. Like, how can the lead character, for example, how can he possibly survive that many chase, fight, falling to water, being blown up, being tortured, has his fingers cut off? I mean, just watch it and you're like, one person, right? 24 hours, right? How, like, does it even make sense? I mean, realistically, the person should have already died like 10 times before the day finished. But it's drama, you know, it's drama. So, you know, we're allowed to believe in things that are crazy. Thank you for watching. I have new X. I'll see you in my next video. Meanwhile, live long and happy drama watching.